Hello and welcome to Yoga TX. My name is Jana Johnson and I'm excited for today's class because it's going to be a fun one, and we're going to work on the balance of the two sides of the pelvis. So that might not sound so fun, but what it is really playing into certain poses that require our hips to be squared, our hips to be level with each other. And we're gonna explore and just build up our awareness about the pelvis and the two sides of the hips, okay? So one thing that you will need is a wall, all right? We are gonna use the wall space for a class, and that's gonna help us to find some balance in some of the shapes and use the wall as support. You don't need a lot of wall space, really you'll just need like a slither of the wall. We'll primarily use it for our feet to press up against the wall. So if you can, set up your practice space for today near a wall like I am here, okay? And then you can take a pause if you need to move around, and let's get started, okay? We're gonna start on our backs. Bend your knees, plant the feet wide apart, and then come on to your spine. I'm gonna invite you to rest your hands, one on the navel center and one on the center of the chest. And straight away, just dropping into that yogic awareness, which is simply about being present, non-judgmental with yourself, which lends itself to being kind and compassionate towards yourself. And maybe even opens up space for you to have fun within your practice, with your body, even with your thoughts, your emotions. What does it feel like to be light with yourself? Take a deep breath in through your nose. Feel your body, ribs, lungs expand. Hold it at the top of the breath and let the breath go. Hold it at the bottom of the breath. We'll do that 2 more times. Slow inhale, feel the body expand, take in this new moment, openness to what is currently happening. Pause at the top of the breath. And release, let it go. Feel that sense of emptying out. Pause at the bottom. One more like that. Inhale, full. Pause. Exhale completely. Feel the navel drop down toward the mat, toward your spine. Hold at the bottom of the breath. And then let your breath return naturally, freely, flowing however it wants to move through your body. And we stay present with that awareness of the breath throughout the practice. We do our best to not let the movement become more important than the breathing. And even more so, we do our best to let the two be synchronized, be one, be joined together. Now step your feet a little closer together so they're more hip distance apart, parallel to one another. Draw your right thigh into the chest slowly and just notice the position of the right side of the pelvis. Try to keep the back side of the pelvis on the ground, which means you might not draw the leg all the way to your chest. Just feel that there. Now go ahead and draw it all the way in and notice how the pelvis changes shape. And see if you can keep the thigh hugged in, but still feel the pelvis press down. So it's like the pelvis or the top end of your thigh bone is reaching downward while the other end of the thigh bone, where your knee is reaching upward. So you're elongating that thigh bone and feeling the space around your hip. Now loosen that a little bit. Rest your left hand on your left thigh and make circles with your right thigh bone in the hip socket, making circles Maybe 2 or 3 in one direction, 2 or 3 in the other. Bring the thigh back in towards your chest and rest the foot back down to the ground. Same thing on the second side. So go slow as you draw the left thigh in towards your chest. Try to keep the pelvis neutral where it is. So you're moving the thigh bone only. Hold it there and just feel that range of motion without moving the pelvis. And then go ahead and draw it in just to feel the difference of when the pelvis moves and when the pelvis is stable. When the pelvis moves this way, the more that we kind of hug it in. If you're rounding the pelvis up, you'll also feel it in the low back rounding. So just pay attention, just feel, be aware. Again, being open and present without judgment, just increasing our awareness. And then similar to the first side, can you feel the top side of your femur bone, your thigh bone, going toward the bottom of the mat, while the other end where your knee is reaching toward the top. And you're not literally elongating your bone. You might feel it in the muscles, but energetically you feel the two ends of that bone going in opposite directions, creating space and length energetically and allowing the pelvis to be as neutral as possible. Go ahead and rest your right hand on the right thigh, make circles with the left thigh bone in the hip socket. And again, just notice, is my pelvis moving with my thigh bone, or can my pelvis stay still while my thigh bone moves? And just a little anatomy tip here, we're already kind of in it, but the hip is the joint, right? Go ahead and rest the left foot back down. The joint is where two bones meet. So where the thigh bone meets the pelvis. As we get into the hips, we either want to move the thigh bone and keep the pelvis still, or we want to move the pelvis and keep the thighs still. So for this one, we're going to do a little bridge movement just to kind of loosen up the space around the pelvis. Bring your arms down by the side and feel the movement of the pelvis and the thighs here. Lift up from the pelvis first. Notice how the thighs also respond to that. Lift up from the front side of the body. Exhale, lower the spine and hips down, reach your arms overhead. Do that twice more. Inhale, bridge, arms down, hips up, thighs up. Lower the hips, bring your arms overhead. Last one, inhale, lift the hips, bring your arms down. Exhale, lower the hips, reach the arms overhead. Now keep the arms overhead, interlace your fingers overhead and flip the palms away from the head. Reach through your fingertips and slightly tuck your chin so that the neck gets long. Breathe in, breathe out. Bring your arms back up to the sky and down by your sides. Okay, now left leg is gonna stay where it is. Reach your right leg straight up to the ceiling. Try to let the leg be perpendicular to the ground, not hugging it all the way in at this point. Flex your right ankle, spread your toes wide apart. Pretend like you're standing on the ceiling. Take a deep breath here. Continue feeling your breath as you hold the leg up here, and just notice what it feels like to hold your leg in space. Kind of working against gravity. That's part of what helps build the strength. Now we're gonna find a little reclined warrior 3, reclined Virabhadrasana 3. Keep the straight leg as it is and bring your left leg straight on the ground. Flex the left ankle. Now notice where your two sides of the pelvis are. Bring your hands to the outer pelvis and you're gonna feel the right side of the pelvis go down towards the bottom of the mat, the left side come up toward the top of the mat. Very small, subtle movements, not any big movements at all. But with the right leg lifted, that side of the pelvis kind of wants to lift up, and we want it to stay level with the left side. So just feel that, breathe. Now, a little more strength here, bring your arms by the side. Lift your arms off the ground 2 inches, and then lift the left leg off the ground 2 inches. Breathe in. Breathe out. This is our warrior 3 recline. Now bring the arms overhead. Same thing. This is more warrior 3. Take 2 more breaths. Hug the knees into your chest. Give your low back some circles. Let that go. Let yourself feel the feedback in your low back, your hips. Loosen it up. Return both feet to the mat. Reach your left leg straight up to the ceiling. Flex the ankle. Take a few moments feeling this here. Keep dropping the left femur bone, which is the thigh bone. Keep letting that drop down to the ground. And maybe even right away, you can feel how the left side kind of wants to lift up a smidge. Try to press the pelvis down toward the bottom of the mat as opposed to it rising up toward the top of the mat. Let it press down. One more breath here. And then straighten the right leg on the ground. Take a moment, notice what happens to your thighs and the pelvis, and then bring your hands on the two sides here and just feel where the two sides of the pelvis are in relation to each other. Try to let them be level. Rest the arms by the side, take another breath, and then lift your arms. Lift the right leg a couple inches off the ground. Bring your arms overhead off the ground. Reach your right heel away from the hands. Reach your hands away from the right heel. Hug your knees into your chest. Make circles in the low back and let that go. Okay, so hello to your pelvis and your thighs, okay? Bring your feet back down to the ground, arms by the side. Bridge pose a little deeper this time. Lift the hips up. Bring the arms under your body. Interlace the fingers, maybe, not necessary, but maybe. And as you press your upper arms down, maybe your hands down, you're lifting the hips up. Similarly with the skull and your feet, those are pressing down while the front of the thighs, front of the pelvis, all that is reaching up. Feel that opposite direction of energy creating the space. Breathe in. Breathe out. And gently let it go. Bring the arms out by the sides, spine down, hips down. Step your feet out wide apart and take windshield wipers. Slowly allow the legs to go side to side. Allow the pelvis to rotate side to side, the low back, and maybe it goes all the way up your body, up the spine. Maybe the head is going side to side. We'll take about 5 more breaths with this twisting motion. All right, bring the legs back to center when you're complete with that. We're gonna rock and roll up to a seated posture, and then bring your hands in front of you with the legs crossed or with one leg in front of the other leg, either way, whichever is more comfortable to your hips, really. Bring the hands in front of you and slowly walk the hands forward as you bring your torso forward. Start to feel the space in the low back at the top of the pelvis. And this time we're working with gravity as we let the body come closer to the earth. Now stay low in the forward fold, but walk your hands over to your right side. Bring the torso with you so that you're closer to your right knee now, right thigh with your torso. And then again, release to gravity, drop down. Let your low back become more spacious. Now stay here. Stack your left hand on top of the right hand. Make it a little side body. Maybe even the left hand goes beyond the right hand. And bring your hands back through center, torso back to center. Take a pause here. And then bring the body over to the left side. Notice the shift in your low back space as you move. And then option to stack your right hand on top of the left or even outside of it. Create some more space in the right side of your torso, the right waist, the ribs. Come back through center. One more full breath down the middle. Lift the torso back up as you walk your hands in. Take a pause. Bring the palms together in front of the heart space. Lift up tall through your spine. Maybe even allow yourself to smile for a moment here. And just feel the whole body, especially from that center awareness of your spine. Take a deep breath in. Long exhale out. Inhale, reach your arms out and up overhead. Exhale the hands down to your heart center. Now bring your hands behind you, moving into reverse table. Step the feet in front of you. And you want the fingers to face away from the body. Bend the elbows a little bit, especially when we get into it. Now feel the feet and the hands press down. Lift the pelvis up. Breathe in. Exhale, lower the hips back down to the ground. 2 more times with the breath. Inhale, lift the hips up, reverse table. Feel the feet and hands pressing down. Exhale, lower back down. Last time, lift up. This time, hold it. Take 2 extra breaths. Keep the chin toward your chest. Breathe in. Breathe out. Lower your hips back down. And then come into downward facing dog. You can cross the legs under, hands in front, and step into it. Lift your right leg back behind you for 3-legged dog. Now go slow again. Let the movement be from your thigh bone. Notice what happens to the pelvis. Now, keep the leg up there. One tendency is that the right side of the pelvis is going to lift up higher and open the hips. Notice that and try to keep the right side of the pelvis next to the left so the hips are closed or squared. Exhale, bring the thigh to chest. Look forward. Again, inhale, reach the leg back. Keep the right side level with the left. And exhale, thigh to chest. One more time, reach it out. Keep the leg up there. This time, open it up. So let the right side of the pelvis stack on top of the left. Feel that. Maybe even look under your right armpit. And then close the hips again, right side next to the left, and step the right foot between your hands. Bring your back knee down. Lift the arms up to the sky, and just be mindful that your front shin is as straight up and down as possible. You can always scoot the front shin more forward to let the hips get more space. Bring your right hand to your left arm. Take a lateral fold to the right side. Inhale, come back to center. Exhale, bring the hands down to the ground. Half split, sit the hips back, straighten the front leg. Fold over the front leg. Flex your right ankle, feel the space in the back of your leg. Rebend your right knee. We're gonna take a twist. Right arm goes out and up. And 2 options here. You can either take a bind with the top arm, turning the arm in, and bringing the hand to your low back or even hooking your left thigh. Or you can lift the back foot off the ground, reach your hand to the foot. Now, the more you actually twist, the more likely you can reach your foot. So create the space first in the twist before trying to find the foot. Take 2 more breaths. Gently let the foot go if that's in your hand. Unbind if you took that option, and bring the right hand back to the top of the mat. Tuck your back toes, lift the back knee. Plank pose, hold it here. Level pelvis here, facing the ground. This is the squared hips. Downward dog, hips go up. Same thing, squaring the hips. Full breath in, full breath out. Now, when the 2 legs are doing the same thing, like in downward dog, it's more easy to have the hips squared, right? They're doing the same thing, they're side by side. When one leg is doing something different, that's when the work comes in for keeping the hips squared. So let's try the left side. Try to keep the pelvis where it is. Move from your left thigh bone as you lift the leg for three-legged. Exhale, thigh to chest, look forward. Do it again. Inhale, reach the leg back and up. Exhale, thigh to chest, look forward. One more. Inhale, bring it back and up. Exhale, bring the thigh forward, hold it. Step the foot between your hands. Bring your back knee down, reach your arms up. All right, your left hand is gonna grab your right arm, reach it up and over to the left. Notice the space on the side of the hip, side of the pelvis here. Inhale, come back to center, hands down. Half split, straighten the front leg, flex the front ankle, fold the torso forward. Rebend your front knee and take your twist. So the right hand down, left arm straight up first. Option to either take the bind or bend your back knee and reach for the foot. In either case, you're twisting, turning the left shoulder up and back. You can feel the ribs even turning to the left. And gently let the foot go. Bring the left hand forward. Step to plank pose. Downward facing dog. Inhale, three-legged dog with the right leg. Reach it back and up. Exhale, bend the knee forward to chest. Look forward, step the foot between your hands. This one, keep the back knee up. Feel the lunge. Now, we're gonna keep the torso hovering over the front leg. Bring your arms to your hips. Notice where they are. For many of us, the right side of the pelvis might be a little up than the left side. Try to feel the right side press back and down, left side come forward. So again, very subtle movements, but just allowing the two sides of the pelvis to be as level with each other as possible. Now, high crescent, reach your arms forward and up. Same thing, right side of the pelvis goes back, left side goes forward. The back knee can have a little bend in it to find your balance. Reach your arms up. Focus your gaze straight ahead of you. Breathe in. Breathe out. Bring your hands to prayer and twist to the right, keeping the torso upright. Turn the torso. Reach your arms out like wings to the sides. And then cartwheel the hands at the top of the mat. Three-legged dog. The right leg is gonna come back and all the way up. Three-legged plank pose and hold it. Lower the right foot down. Lower all the way to the ground. Shoulders forward, bend your elbows, come down. Untuck your toes. We're moving into locust or shalabhasana. So bring your arms by your side. Take a deep breath in. Deep breath out. Lift the body, arms, legs. Let your back muscles support the lift. And breathe. So we're letting the hips go into extension now, where we kind of let the thighs go toward the back body. One more breath. Hands under shoulders, lower the feet, child's pose. Rest your shoulders, your arms, and let yourself feel the whole body, feel your breath. Let's do the second side. Inhale, come up to table. Exhale, downward facing dog. Inhale, left leg lifts up behind you. Exhale, step the foot between your hands. Keep the crescent lunge. Bring your hands to the hips. Feel where the pelvis is. Find any adjustments that make sense to bring them level, squared with each other. And then inhale, reach arms up, high crescent. One of the keys here of balancing is allowing both feet, even when they're doing different things like right now, to have even weight distribution, right? So feel your back foot as much as you feel the front, even though the back heel is lifted, right? We're not using the whole foot on the ground, but the whole foot is still active and engaged. Bring your hands to prayer, twist to your left. Reach your arms out wide, breathe in, breathe out. Cartwheel the hands to the top of the mat, three-legged dog, left leg backing up. Three-legged plank pose, shoulders forward, feel the pelvis level with itself, and then lower the left foot. Take your vinyasa. All right, walk your hands to the back of the mat. Slowly roll up to stand. Okay, so a little balance on the mat on one leg, and then we're gonna bring that to the wall, okay? Start with bringing your hands to the pelvis. Feel where they are right now. Easy, they're squared, they're level with each other, right? Feel the toes pointing forward. Focus your gaze straight ahead of you. Now we're gonna lift the right leg up so the knee comes in line with the hip, and right away, say hello to the right side of your pelvis. Is it moving up, back? What's happening with the pelvis? Try to keep it level with the left side as you lift from your thigh, flex the foot. All right, and again, just to play with it and feel the range of motion, go ahead and purposely lift that side up higher and then try to bring it back down level. All right, as you bring it level, lift from your thigh, keeping that there. Lift from the thigh or the knee. You can even feel it from that perspective while keeping the pelvis stable. All right, one more inhale here, reach the arms up. Exhale everything down. Second side. Start with the hands on the hips just to keep it level. Try to keep that there. Move from the thigh. Left leg lifts up. Left knee in line with the hip. Flex the left ankle. Feel it out. And just as much as you feel that stability in the left leg lifting up, make sure the standing leg is solid. That's what you're balancing on, right? And even though the left foot is in the air, it's still active as if it was on the ground, just like that right foot. Inhale, reach your arms up, get longer, taller. Exhale, everything down. All right, half Surya A. Both arms reach up overhead. Exhale, forward, fold. Halfway lift. Inhale, lengthen your spine parallel to the ground. And exhale, fold again. Stay in the forward fold for a few more breaths. You can bring your hands even behind your legs and let that support you going deeper into the fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Rise all the way up, hinge from the pelvis to stand. All right, let's go to the wall. So you can take your mat with you if you want to, or not. You don't have to, for sure. I'm not going to. I usually don't sometimes, but feel free. Either way is fine. Use the wall. First thing we're gonna do is measure at what distance we need to be from the wall. So to do that, take a seat up against the wall. Lengthen out your legs so that you can see where your heels are. You wanna be a leg's distance from the wall because we're gonna reach our leg back into the wall. We're moving into warrior 3, okay? Just like we did on the back, warrior 3, we're gonna do it now using the wall, all right? So wherever that point is where your heel is as you're sitting up against the wall, the hips up against the wall, that's where you wanna stand, more or less, okay? So we're gonna stand there, And the first part of Warrior 3 for this exercise is we're gonna set up the pelvis and the spine. Where should the torso be, rather? So you can bend your knees a little bit, a lot of bit, honestly, depending on how your hamstring feels. Bending the knees is gonna help you to find the hip flexion, bringing your spine more or less parallel to the ground. Now, if you have blocks, you can use blocks. Just try not to let the blocks or the ground be the reason why you go further down. We still want to find that levelness of the torso, and we are going against gravity, so that's part of the work of the pose, okay? So bend the knees a little bit, find that halfway fold. Bring the hands to the hips. Start with the right leg. You're gonna step the right foot back, keep the toes on the ground. Try to keep the pelvis level. Now, lift the foot to the wall. You're gonna feel the toes, and then let the heel press all the way flat. Straighten out the leg as much as you can. Notice how the right side of the pelvis, does it want to lift up? Are the toes turned out? Can you bring it down level with the left side so the toes are pointing down? Hands can stay at the hips. Go to prayer, reach overhead. Just make sure the leg is reaching firmly into the wall, just like the hands are reaching firmly forward. Breathe in. Breathe out, forward fold, leg down, arms down. Slowly roll up your spine to stand. Okay, let's do the second side. Hands at the hips, forward fold with a little bend in your knees just to help you get there. And then step the left foot back, keeping the toes on the ground to start. Try to keep the pelvis level. Lift the left leg up into the wall, press the whole foot into the wall, and bring the left side level with the right side of the pelvis. Reach your arms overhead. Maybe look forward at your hands. Breathe in. Breathe out, forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold again, exhale. Come up to stand through half lift. Reach your arms overhead. Mountain pose, exhale. All right, let's take a full Surya A. We're gonna step onto the mat and add Warrior 3 into a sequence, okay? Mountain pose at the top of your mat. Inhale, reach your arms overhead. Exhale, forward fold. Halfway lift, breathe in. Plank pose, breathe out. Hold plank for an extra inhale. Exhale to lower, chaturanga or all the way down. Take your back bend, up dog or cobra. Downward facing dog. Be still here in the body, but take 5 breaths and stay with that movement of the breath, of the energy, of prana. Look forward, walk or hop, the feet to the top of the mat. Halfway lift, inhale. Forward fold, exhale. Inhale to stand up, reach up, look up to your hands. Mountain pose. Surya B, chair pose, breathe in. Forward fold, breathe out. Halfway lift, Ardha Uttanasana, inhale. Take your vinyasa of choice all the way to downward facing dog. Any variation that works for you, which includes skipping the vinyasa if you want to, okay? Take that liberty. Take the liberty to skip any of the poses, right? And make sure that it feels good to your body. Step the right foot between your hands, Warrior 1. Pivot the back foot flat, rise up. Now, as you bend your front knee, you're pressing the back foot back away from where the front knee is moving. Look up to the hands, breathe in. Vinyasa, breathe out.
Left foot forward between the hands. Pivot the back heel down, rise up. Warrior one, second side. Feel the 2 feet moving kind of in opposite directions energetically. Right side of the pelvis squaring to the front of the room. Look up to the hands, inhale. Vinyasa, exhale. Look forward. Walk or hop to the top of the mat. Halfway lift. Inhale. Forward fold. Let go. Chair pose. Utkatasana. Inhale. Mountain pose. Tadasana. Exhale. All right. Take a pause. If you need to shake out the limbs, dry off any sweat, get some water, whatever you need to do, just take a pause. And then we're going to do our last little flow here, including the balancing things, the warrior 3, and continuing to feel into the awareness of keeping the hips squared, the pelvis in line with itself, okay? So come on to the top of the mat, mountain pose. Take a deep breath in, deep breath out. Now start by bringing the hands to the 2 sides of the pelvis. We're gonna lift the right knee up in line with the hip. Flex the ankle. Feel the balance on the one leg. Take your time here as we transition and be present when we're still. Inhale, reach the arms up. Warrior 3, on the exhale, you're gonna reach the right leg behind you and bring the torso parallel to the ground. Take your time. Full breath in. Full breath out. Crescent lunge. Bend the front knee, land the toes of the back foot, reach the arms up. All right, stay where you are. And just feel the back leg reaching back as the hips kind of soften downward. One more full breath in. Full breath out. Now we're gonna go the same way out that we came in. Warrior 3, hands to heart. You can bring the torso parallel first. Hop the back foot in some, and then move into it. Now that one-legged mountain pose, feel the levelness of the hips. Bring the right knee up, forward. Now cross that shin over the opposite thigh, figure 4, and bend your left knee. Now we're opening the hip. Get that little break from the closed, squared hips. Take one more breath. One-legged mountain, lift the right knee up. Mountain pose. Shake it out. Let that go. All right. Second side. Hands to the hips. Bring your feet parallel to each other. Mountain pose with the hands on the hips to feel that. Breathe in. Breathe out. Keep the hips level. Lift the left knee, thigh, foot off the ground. Breathe here. Feel the stability in the standing leg. Reach your arms up high. One more inhale. Create the length and the space. Warrior 3 on the exhale. Reach the left leg back. Bring the torso parallel to the ground. And just feel, is the left leg, left thigh, and hip lifting up too high where I'm opening the hips? Can I feel them level from the pelvis? Breathe in. High crescent lunge. Breathe out. All right, feel that break with both feet on the ground again. And then let's move back into warrior 3, coming out the same way we came in. Hands at prayer. Bring the torso parallel to the ground. Hop the back foot in some first and then lift it up. Just to take your time as you move into it. Reach strongly through the left leg. Feel the balance of the pelvis. One-legged mountain. Lift the left leg up. Cross that shin over the opposite thigh, figure 4, squat, or one-legged chair. Open that left hip. Now close it again. Come back to one-legged mountain. Lift up. Mountain pose. Let it go. Last full Surya. Inhale, reach both of the arms up. Exhale, deep forward fold. Halfway lift, inhale. Take your vinyasa of choice. Skip it if you want to. And we'll meet in downward dog. Take a deep breath in through the nose. Open the mouth, side out. Bring your knees down. Come into child's pose. Lift up to table. And remain on your shins, kneeling. Walk the hands in and sit up on the knees. You're gonna bring the hands to the back of the low back or the back of the pelvis. Just to get out of the hip flexion a little, we're gonna allow the hips to extend some. So a baby camel. If camel's in your practice, feel free to take it to the degree that you want. But we're gonna do a baby one here that I'm gonna demo, okay? Hands on the back side. Let the elbows press toward each other. Open the chest, look slightly up. So you're really allowing the chest to open, the front of the hips to open. You can feel the tailbone going down and slightly tucking under as the front of the hips presses forward. Come back to a neutral spine and sit back on your feet with the spine tall and upright. Bring a hand to the center of the chest, hand to the center of your belly. Just feel the breath. Feel the feedback from your body. Bring the hands back forward and come to a seated posture with the legs crossed. Step your left hand outside of the left hip, reach the right arm up tall. Go tall first and then lateral fold. Inhale to center, second side. Tall first and then fold to the side. Come back to center. We're gonna meet in Sphinx pose. So you're gonna bring your forearms forward and the legs back behind you. Untuck the toes. Make sure elbows are right under the shoulders. Now even more hip extension. Bend both of your knees so the feet lift up to the sky. Seal pose from here. Palms are grounded. Start to lift the elbows up little by little. Point the toes upward. Slide shoulder blades down your back. And then bring the elbows down, bring the feet down. Take a pause. Lift the feet again, windshield wipers. Legs and pelvis rotate side to side. Bring the legs back to center, lower your feet. Overlap the palms and rest your forehead on the hands. Now lift the head and flip over like a pancake onto your back. Come into bound angle pose with cactus arms. Cactus arms bending the elbows, letting the back of the hands be on the ground. Bound angle, meaning the soles of the feet together, knees out to the sides. Soften the hips. Now we're allowing the hips to open since we've been working so much on them being closed and squared. So feel the balancing out of this all around the hips. Top of the pelvis even, where it meets the low back. And the actual hip joints, where the bottom of the pelvis meets your thigh bones, your femur bones. Now lift the knees up, step the feet back flat on the ground, straighten out your legs, and come into Shavasana. Allow your body to be still. And allow the movement to continue through the breath, the prana, the vitality and awareness that flows within your body, that flows around your body even. And just feeling the subtle body after having moved and worked through our physical body so much here just now. We balance it out. Let the work be done. And now we get to do nothing. And let that be just as important, powerful, fun even, as all the movement that we just did. Take a deep breath in through your nose. Expand the whole body. And let it out. Feel free to lay here as long as you desire, my friend. It was a pleasure to practice with you today, as always. And I look forward to our next class together. Please comment, like, subscribe if you enjoyed this practice, and let me know if there's other particular things you want us to work on together in your next practice. All right? Have a great rest of your day. Be well.